Posture is the most important attribute for an aesthetic physique. Yes, you heard that right, and I'd even rank it higher than the back and the shoulders. And this is because unlike other muscles, posture has the ability to make or break your physique. Nate Diaz is the perfect example of poor posture. Although Nate Diaz isn't really the most muscular guy, his posture is so bad he looks weak and pudgy. Another example of this is Jorge Masvidal. His posture isn't as bad as Nate Diaz, but I think he's a great example because he has a little bit more muscle mass. Even though Masvidal has a decent amount of muscle, because his posture is so bad, he again looks soft and pudgy. Leon Edwards, on the other hand, has great posture, so he looks strong and confident. But the best example of great posture is Kawhi Leonard, who I like to call the GOAT of posture. I feel like it makes his physique look 10 times better, which is why I think he has the best physique in the NBA. The two most common postural impairments I see in people are thoracic kyphosis, most commonly known as rounded shoulders, and a protracted neck, aka nerd neck. And this all comes down to daily activities. All the activities we do in real life are right in front of us. Two very common activities would be being on your phone or looking at the computer. When you think about it, when I'm on my phone, I'm not standing on my phone like this looking with great posture. I'm looking down like this. I know it looks kind of stupid because I'm not looking at the camera, but I'm looking down like this with rounded shoulders. And doing that repetitively over time will lead to tight muscles that are holding you in that position. So our goal is to loosen up the muscles that are tight and strengthen the muscles that will lock us into good posture. What sucks for most lifters is that a bodybuilding routine does not hit posture well. Bodybuilders like to claim this, and I'll explain later in this video why that's not the case, but there's a reason why you see bodybuilders and their posture looks like trash. Early in my lifting routine, I was doing a typical bodybuilding routine and my posture didn't get any better. My posture only got better when I used the knowledge I learned in physical therapy school to fix my posture. And I've noticed great improvements, so I'm excited to share with you what I learned. Because I'm here to make fitness great again, I'll be giving you a step-by-step guide on how to fix rounded shoulders and nerd neck. The term for the combination of rounded shoulders and nerd neck is called upper cross syndrome. I learned about this in physical therapy school, as a lot of people have upper cross syndrome, so the goal is to fix the posture to stop their pain. But what I've done is use this knowledge to fix posture for an aesthetic reason. The reason why it's called upper cross syndrome is because the weak and the tight muscles of your body make an X. First, I'll be starting with the muscles of the neck. The weak muscles of your neck will be the deep neck flexors, which are not activating like we would like them to. And the tight muscle of your neck will be your suboccipitals, which are holding your neck in a poor position. And now onto the muscles of your upper back or your thoracic spine. There are a few weak muscles of your thoracic spine that are not holding you in the proper position, but from experience, I've noticed that the culprits are typically the mid trap and the low traps. Just like the neck, these muscles are not firing like we would like them to and not locking you in a great position. And the tight muscle of your thoracic spine will be your pec minor, which is pulling you forward. So in order to fix your posture, you need to loosen up those tight muscles and strengthen the weaker ones. But in this video, I'm only going to show you how to fix the muscles of your upper back or thoracic spine and not your neck. I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, dude, Martin, why are you not showing me how to fix my neck? And this is because the majority of the time that people have a nerd neck, it's just compensating for your rounded shoulders, and it's not a direct problem of the cervical spine. Think about it. If you round your shoulders, and I know I'm not looking at the camera, but this is for demonstration purposes. If you round your shoulders and keep your neck in the same position, so I'll show it like this. Round your shoulders, keep the neck in the same position, you'll be looking at the floor. So what your neck does is, because you obviously don't want to look at the floor, your neck protracts and extends so you can actually look around and do things in your life. So if we can open up this thoracic spine, the neck will follow. So now onto the exercises to fix the rounded shoulders and therefore fixing your nerd neck. And the first thing that I'm going to target is the weak, mid, and low traps. So I have so many bodybuilders in my comments who think they're super smart and always comment things like, oh, the mid and low traps are hitting a barbell row or face pull, so they're strong, so you don't know what you're talking about. But believe it or not, I do know what I'm talking about. And it comes down to a concept that bodybuilders don't know about. And the concept is, if a muscle cannot work in an isolated fashion, it cannot participate in a functional movement pattern. So in other words, if the mid and low trap are weak, it cannot participate in functional movement patterns like a face pull or a barbell row. You might be thinking, yeah, that makes sense, but my mid and low traps aren't weak. And I can promise you that your mid and low traps are weak. In physical therapy, you use manual muscle tests to test muscles in an isolated fashion to see if they're weak or if they're strong. In my physical therapy class, which is filled of students in their early 20s, who most of them exercise on a regular basis, everybody tested weak on the mid and low traps. I tested my brother's mid and low traps a couple months ago, and he had weak mid and low traps. I also tested my cameraman, and he had weak mid and low traps. I cannot stress this point enough, which bodybuilders typically don't understand. The mid and low traps are typically weak for nearly everybody, so that's why they're not working properly in an exercise like a barbell row or face pull. So in order to strengthen the mid and low traps, we need to isolate them to allow them to work efficiently and not allow other muscles to take over. And the two exercises will be Y raises for the low trap and T raises for the mid traps. These exercises might look pretty easy, but I promise you they're pretty tough. And I'll start with the Y raises. The Y raises, like I mentioned, are used to target the low traps. The goal of the Y raise is not to move your arm up in this fashion. Well, technically that's right. That's not the way you should be cueing yourself. Because your low trap works on your scapula, aka your shoulder blade, you should be focusing on movement there and not on your arm. Your arm just goes along for the ride. I like to do Y raises on a cable machine, but if you don't have access to that, you can do them on the floor or with a dumbbell on a bench. The goal of the movement is to keep your shoulder blade down and move it towards the midline. This sounds pretty easy, but because your low traps are likely weak, your upper traps typically want to get involved. So I see a lot of people when they're doing Y raises have their shoulders come up and just use purely upper traps. And like I said before, we're trying to isolate the low traps. So it's super important to make sure you keep your shoulder down and then bringing your shoulder blades towards the middle. And you want to be doing light weight here. I would start with the lightest weight possible because like I said, your low and mid traps are going to be weak. So even doing super light weight will be challenging, and it will allow you to focus on isolating those muscles and not letting bigger muscles like the upper trap take over. Second exercise for your mid trap will be T raises. Just like Y raises, I like to use a cable for this, but you can also do them on the floor or with a bench and dumbbells. Stupid bodybuilders will see this exercise and be like, hey, isn't this a rear delt fly? And obviously, no surprise, bodybuilders are wrong. When you're doing a rear delt fly, you're thinking about moving your arm. But just like Y raises, T raises, you're focusing on movement of the scapula. You also have your palms up instead of palms down. This helps take the rear delt out of the movement and focus on purely mid trap recruitment. So those are your two strengthening exercises. And don't worry, I'm not going to leave you out in the dark. I feel like so many physical therapy videos online will give you exercises and then they don't tell you how often, how many reps, or any other sort of dosage for the exercise. But don't worry, I got you. You should be doing these exercises about 2 to 3 times per week. Shoot for higher reps here, about 10 to 15 reps, because form is so important. And do about 3 to 5 sets per session. Just like any other muscle, don't hit these muscles on consecutive days. It's better to allow at least 48 hours of recovery. Now onto the tight muscle, which is your pec minor. Your pec minor is pulling you into this rounded position. So our goal is to stretch it to open up our chest. And the exercise to do this will be a doorway stretch. You can do this with 1 or 2 arms, whichever feels the best for you. And what I really love about this stretch is you can do it from pretty much anywhere. All you have to do is anchor your elbows on your door frame and then slowly lean forward until you feel a light stretch on your chest. And that's pretty much it for the pec stretch. Like I said, it's a pretty easy exercise. It's not as complicated as the strengthening exercises. Each stretch should be held for about 30 seconds, and you should do about 3 rounds per session. You should stretch your chest about 1 time per day, but for best results, you should do it twice per day. I know what you might be thinking. That was some great information, but I don't know how to incorporate this into my workout routine as I'm already working out for a long time, and this will feel like an extra workout. Well, luckily for you, I've integrated posture training into my beginner program and my ultimate athletic bodybuilding academy. With my beginner program being better for beginner lifters, obviously, and early intermediate lifters, and my ultimate athletic bodybuilding academy being a push-pull leg split that's better suited for intermediate lifters and advanced lifters. The posture training is integrated to both of these workouts so flawlessly, if I have to say so myself, that it doesn't even feel like you're doing extra work. So if you're interested in either program, I'll leave a link in the description. I hope you learned a lot from this video, and leave any questions you have in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe if you want more content like this.